One of the absolute fastest ways to bring your fat loss goals to a complete stop is to try to go out to eat several times a week. Hey everybody, I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. And I do want to make some caveats when I say this. I'm not saying it is impossible. I'm not saying everyone who does this will have these problems. And I'm definitely not saying, absolutely not saying that high output athletes, that this is an issue. If your maintenance calories are 4,500 calories a day, like you burn over 4,000 calories a day, this probably doesn't apply to you. Okay. Now, the majority of people out there, people who struggle with weight loss, as a general rule, the vast majority aren't burning 4,000 to 5,000 calories or 6,000 calories a day. They're not. Okay. Most people who are struggling with weight loss are people who really struggle to get an hour of exercise in a day. Okay, that's actually difficult for them to get that in. So let's go over and talk about this demographic. So it's one of the biggest issues, and I'm also saying that it's not impossible, but it does make it very difficult. And the problem with it is that when we go out to eat, particularly any sort of restaurant, the probability that you're going to be eating more processed food goes up. Okay, number one. Number two, there's so many extra calories snuck in because at restaurants, usually their goal is not, hey, let me create the healthiest, highest satiety meal possible to keep a person from overeating or blowing their calories for the day. That's not their goal. Their goal is to make something that tastes good so that you will come back. And particularly in countries like the US where there's an expectation that foods are all supposed to be overly abundant in flavor and hyper palatable, man, if a restaurant's not making food taste good, then people aren't going to go there, which means usually tons of extra fat added. Tons of extra fat means higher calorie density. We also store the fat we eat is what we store for body fat gain, and a lot of people don't seem to be aware of that. That we tend to store fat, and any body fat that you gain on your body, almost all of it came from fat that you ate, and that has been extremely studied and shown in the laboratory. So we need to be clear on that. That's not really a point of debate at this point. So when you factor that in of how much fat they add to everything, and it's almost always refined fats, okay? Or saturated fats. Obviously, we don't need to refine a big fatty cut of steak. All right, these are the foods that are going to create the most problem for you. They also tend to throw a lot of extra refined carbohydrates, a lot of refined sugars and things just in general into foods when you go out to eat. So there's a lot of extra calories snuck in. And then on top of that, appetizers, they bring you breadsticks or chips. Should be nachos for people maybe outside of the U.S. They might not understand that term. So you have all these extra foods there. And so what ends up happening is sometimes it's extremely easy for you to go over your calorie budget for the day, particularly if you've been eating other food throughout the day. You're not doing some pretty extreme intermittent fasting protocol, in which case if you are, then you may get away with this a lot more. But it's just tons of extra calories snuck in, and then we tend to go out to eat more late in the day. It's a general rule. And so then again, we may have already reached close to our calorie budget. We may only have, like especially someone who's trying to lose weight who's not very athletic. You might be trying to lose weight on an 1,800 or even a 2,200 calorie diet, right? Now, for me, I personally can't comprehend dropping calories that low. I lose weight on 3,500. But I am not the average person. So you try to lose weight on that, and if you've already eaten 1,000 calories for the day, it's not difficult when you sit down, even trying to get a lighter, healthier meal if you go out to eat 1,500 or even 2,000 calories, even 2,500 calories. And if this is only once a week, it's not a problem. Most people can fit that in. Even someone who's on an 1,800 calorie a day diet, they have a maintenance of about 2,300 or whatever. All right, 500 calorie deficit approximately. 6 days a week, and then one day they end up, because they go out to eat, they end up eating 500 over. They go into a surplus, a small surplus for one day. They're still going to lose weight. They're still going to lose probably over half a pound every single week. They're going to lose a couple pounds a month, right? Yeah, totally doable. And a lot of people are out here talking about weight loss are like a couple pounds a month. Well, you guys live in a delusional world where you think you're going to lose 10 pounds of body fat in a week. That's only happens in liposuction, and then you've got tubes sticking out of your sides for the next 6 weeks. Okay? I want to be clear, that is not how biology works. I personally think 2, 3, 4 pounds a month is a great rate of fat loss if you want to sustain it. Perfectly reasonable. So let's go back over to that point. You can do that with what I just described. Absolutely do it. But what happens if you go out to eat 3 days a week? All right, we see the problem. So let's say every time you go out to eat in the evening, you go into a 500 calorie surplus, which is most likely going to happen when those hidden calories add up. Again, barring a very high energy output and some very serious fasting. Okay? I might recommend that people who feel like they need to go out to eat multiple times a week probably need to fast for 16 to 20 hours every single day. Sorry, that's for most of you, that's the only way it's going to work. And then protein load with your first meal. Because otherwise, here's the problem. So let's assume you've been hitting about a 500 calorie deficit. Even for women here. The other days you don't go out to eat. Ooh. But then you go over by 500, 600 every time you go out to eat for the day. You do that 3 days a week. You've basically offset all your weight loss for the week. Or if you go out and eat really hard on the weekends. It's the same problem too. If you created a 500 calorie deficit all through the week, and then you go out for drinks Friday night, go out to eat, end up being in 1,000 calorie surplus, and then the rest of the weekend you're above. Also, well, what happens? Your whole weekend regained any fat that you lost through the week. You regained all of it. So that half a pound of fat you lost Monday through Thursday, you've regained it over the Friday night and then the Saturday, Sunday, whatever you do on the weekend. You'll regain all of it. So what happens? You don't lose anything. So you do this for 6 months, and then these are the people who go, I can't lose weight, I've tried everything. Well, clearly you didn't. You didn't even try. You intentionally derailed yourself. Okay? A solution I also have for people with that is do a bunch of lifting, gain more muscle, you'll burn more calories, it'll make this whole thing a lot easier. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.